As we continue to hasten toward our conclusion and consider the context, in verse 39, it says that one of the Pharisees, some of the Pharisees in the crowd said to Jesus, "Teacher, rebuke your disciples." And the reality is there is going to be something or someone that's going to try to keep you from telling your story. There's always going to be forces that try to prevent you, that try to make you feel shame about the things God has done in your life. But if my imagination works for me, I can just believe the woman with the issue of blood was probably in the crowd. And I don't know about you, but she was probably hollering one of the loudest, right? Jairus might have been in the crowd. Bartimaeus might have been in the crowd. And Pastor said we're going to call him by his new name, Bartimaeus, the man who can see now, right? And I don't know about you, but if he's giving me sight, what are you talking about? Let the Titans score a touchdown, right? Oh, but if Jesus scoring a touchdown in your life, thank you, Lord. He's been good to me. And furthermore, Psalm 107 says, "Let the redeemed of the Lord say so." Let the redeemed of the Lord say so. So sadly, I hate to inform you that silence is not an option if you have been redeemed. Anybody been redeemed? Oh, don't for anybody really been redeemed, then let the redeemed of the Lord say so. You ought to be ready and willing to give God great praise anytime you have the chance. And the word is clear. We are all the redeemed, so we all ought to always be ready and willing to say so. And the truth is, when we really think about it, we've been way too silent about way too many things. Police and gun violence. We've been way too silent. We don't have the right to be silent anymore. When we think about the tragedy and the injustices with our own criminal justice system, many of us have been too silent for far too long. When we think about domestic abuse and sexual abuse, many of us have been too silent for far too long. When we think about the struggles of our own public educational system, many of us have been too silent for far too long. Many of us neglected our right to exercise our vote and chose to be silent. And now you see what we have to deal with. And many of us make the grave mistake of being silent about Jesus. Fannie Lou Hamer, one of the pillars of the civil rights movement and leader of the Freedom Democratic Party, when asked why she kept pushing for equal rights for blacks in Jim Crow South after the Democratic Party refused to seat the delegates from Mississippi at the National Convention in 1964, her famous response is something many of us have probably said or at least heard many times. She was sick and tired of being sick and tired. And she went on to say that, you can pray until you faint, but unless you get up and try to do something, in most instances, God doesn't drop something in your lap. You got to get up and do something. If you're looking for a job, you got to get up and dust off your resume and put on your good suit and expect God to bless you. But you got to meet sometimes God halfway. And that don't mean he can't do it, but many times we won't appreciate it if he gives it to us that way. And so the enemy, and her speaking up did what gave many other people permission. The permission they needed to speak up and to take action. And many times when we share our stories, we do the same thing. We give people permission to move. We give people permission to take action. Because what they're thinking is, if God did that for you, and you did this and this, if I do this, and this, maybe God will move on my behalf. But the danger is if you don't tell it, then you don't give the permission. Revelations 12:11 says, "And they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony. And there are many overcomers in the room today, but part of your overcoming strategy is that you got to tell of the good news of Jesus Christ. And when we think about the whole idea of overcoming by the blood, and we sing and praise all the time that there is power in the blood, when you testify, you are in essence spreading the blood. And if you're spreading the blood, you are spreading power. You know, I heard it once this way: sometimes our pain pushes us until our vision is able to pull us. So when you get sick and tired of being sick and tired, then it's time to make the first step. And when you're stuck, one of the first things you can do is simply tell your story.